Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Leanna. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Stellar Beauty Limitless Foundation, and this is actually by a Canadian brand. It was founded by Monica Dio, I think is how you say her name. I might be saying that wrong though. And she actually used to be a Much Music VJ. Much Music is kind of like MTV, but it's a Canadian channel. So I'm not sure if I actually would have been old enough to see her on TV. Maybe I saw her at one point, but I might not have been old enough to remember her. And she is an Indian-born Canadian who developed this line specifically for medium skin tones. On the website, it says it was intended to focus on Indian, Latina, Filipino, Indigenous, Chinese, Middle Eastern, Mediterranean, Afro-American, and other heritages. Because working in the music industry and the entertainment industry, she just found that she was often having to mix her own foundations and concealers and powders because there was just a complete lack of olive and peach tones in the middle range. Because I think there tends to be a misconception of what a middle shade range is. A medium skin tone. A lot of brands mark something as medium and it's still not quite dark enough for an actual medium skin tone. And so this over delivers to medium skin tones. It currently has 35 shades. I don't think it used to. And it's 48 Canadian dollars for 1.01 fluid ounces. I've been trying out L01, which is their new lightest shade. I believe it used to start at S01. And L01 is classified as fair with pink undertones. On the Sephora page, it says that this is a natural looking medium coverage foundation that builds to full satin finish. Now available, it says now available in 35 shades for all skin tones, which is what makes me believe that it used to have less than that. However, I can't remember the original number. It says coverage, medium, finish, radiant, formulation, liquid, skin type, normal, dry, combination, and oily. I don't see sensitive on there, but I do have sensitive, normal skin, and I haven't really noticed any irritation. Imperceptible, long-wearing, and comfortable, Limitless foundation gives you the skin you wish you woke up in. That's a little odd to me. I feel like a lot of people don't need another reason to worry about their skin. So I feel like they could have worded that a bit better. Telling you that your skin isn't good enough as it is when you wake up in the morning, but that's just me. Shade matches are based on skin undertones and provide a bright and uniform look to the complexion with true medium coverage. Build it up to full coverage only where needed using the unique Stellar technique, and they tell you what that is if you want to know. It's formulated without parabens, formaldehydes, formaldehyde-releasing agents, phthalates, mineral oils, coal tar, hydroquinone, triclosan, triclocarbon, and contains less than 1% synthetic fragrances. This product is also vegan, cruelty-free, and gluten-free. So I've worn it 3 different ways now. I had just a small sample pack that came with a Sephora order, and there was quite a bit in there, so I had enough to try it 3 days and a few different ways each time. So I'm just going to get into the wear tests and then tell you what I think of this foundation. At the top is the Hourglass Vanish Stick Foundation in Blanc. At the left is the Too Faced Born This Way Foundation in Cloud. In the center is the Cover FX Power Play Foundation in N0. And on the right is the Stellar Limitless Foundation in L01. So I've got one of those little foil packets of the foundation here. And on the back, you can see it says L01. That's the lightest shade. It also came with a few other shades of the foundation, 2 of the more medium shades, and then this is D03. which I think is the second darkest shade, so that's what those two look like side by side. And I don't really know how much is going to be in here. Hopefully it's enough for one application, at least. Kind of looks like Cover FX N0, which is a nice shade. This feels both creamy and liquidy, kind of hard to describe. So I'm gonna start on this side. It has just a little bit of like a foundation smell. It doesn't smell like perfume or anything. My forehead's been kind of oily lately, which doesn't usually happen even when it's summertime, but I think it is something to do with the summertime weather. So I don't know if things are gonna look a little different there or what. We're just gonna have to see what happens. So this is like a really light layer on this side of the face with a sponge. I feel like you can barely even tell I'm wearing anything, which is really good. I can barely tell I'm wearing anything. It matches my neck perfectly. And the finish is so natural that I can't really even see it, even up close, which is lovely. So I'm going to do the other side with the brush, and then I might add a tiny bit more just to see what it looks like. And this is just a Real Techniques brush. The sponge was Real Techniques as well. It came from the same set that I got at Christmas time. And the color is definitely a neutral that runs probably very slightly yellow. So if you're more pink than I am, you might not like this shade. It looks a little bit more makeup-y, makeup-like on the side with the brush, very slightly kind of at the side of my nose here, and kind of right up against my eyebrow in this area. And I'm just gonna add a little bit more on this side just because I feel like I added a tiny bit more with the brush. And I definitely still have some left, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in a tiny bag that I use for my jewelry supplies. And it might be okay in there, or it might dry up, but I'll try it anyway. And I'll zoom you in so you can see what it's looking like. This is on the side that I did with the brush. And this is on the side that I did, with the sponge. And I'll also show you in natural lighting. So this is the brush side. And the sponge side. You can see it didn't cover that pimple I have on the side of my face there. But it does look really, really nice. I like the way it looks right now. And I'm probably going to be wearing it for about 10 hours today, so I'm not going to powder it or anything. hopefully I will have enough left that I can powder it another day. So if it doesn't dry out, I will do another wear test for you, but this is what it's looking like right now, and I will let you know what it looks like later. So this is what it looks like after about 10 hours. Remember, this is the side that I used the brush on. It did have some very slight caking in these pores here at the side of my nose. That was really the only issue. And then this was the side that I used the sponge on. I don't really see any difference. Granted, I didn't really feel or look like I was wearing foundation to begin with, so it's kind of hard to tell whether it wore away a whole lot or not. I have a tissue here, and I'm just going to kind of swipe it on my face a little bit and see if there's a lot coming off, and there definitely is a little bit, and I don't even know if you'll be able to see it on camera. I'll kind of turn down the light a little bit. There's just a tiny bit on the tissue, and again, I don't know if you'll see it or not. I'll have to kind of check when I'm editing. So there is a little bit of transfer. I can still kind of feel it on my skin. It just kind of feels like the foundation never really set down. And it is a sort of radiant finish, natural finish, so I guess that's to be expected. I did wear it for roughly 10 hours, and I did exercise in this foundation, and I was sweating a bit. I didn't go out in the heat very much, but I can imagine that that would definitely affect it. So I didn't powder anywhere except for under the eyes, and I have some transfer under my eyes, and I'm not sure if that's from me putting foundation under there before my concealer, or if that's just regular transfer. And I do have enough left that I can try this again tomorrow, and I am going to do that just in case the product dries up really quickly. I kind of taped the little packet shut and then put it in a little bag. So I'm going to try it again tomorrow, and I think I'm going to powder it and see how it looks with powder on top. I might try to layer it a bit more. I looked on the Sephora page for this, and it suggested using a brush or fingers to blend it in, so I'm going to try that and see how it goes. So that's the end of wear test number 1, and I do like the way it's looking. It's not giving me any problems, and hopefully it doesn't make my skin break out. So with any luck, you'll see me tomorrow for another wear test. Oh, well, I taped this shut the other day, and it's still liquidy, so that's cool. So as I said, I had read on the Sephora page for this that you can use it with your fingers or a brush as the recommended application method, so I'm going to try that today. I'm going to try it with my fingers on one side and the brush on the other. And this is a different Real Techniques brush. This is the Expert Face Brush. It also said if you wanted to build up on certain spots, what you do is leave it there on the spot for at least 30 seconds before you try and blend it out. So I'm going to do that. So I did build it up on those spots over there a little bit. It might have helped a tiny bit, but not a whole lot. And so that's what it looks like on the brush side today. And this is the side I used to blend out with my fingers. I'm going to add some concealer under my eyes and then powder my face. On the rest of my face, I'm using the Models Prefer Mineral Finishing Veil, which is a loose setting powder that has just a tiny bit of a sheen to it. So this is the brush side in Natural Light. And the side I used my fingers to blend things in. And so I guess I will see you again in the evening. So here I am in the evening, and I haven't been wearing this for quite as long as I did the other day. It's been 8 hours instead of 10 hours. And so I powdered my face with a slightly luminous finishing powder so that it wouldn't look too matte. I do like the natural finish of this foundation, and the powder helped keep it that way while taking down some of the stickiness. And it didn't make anything look more cakey. I feel like my face looks really good on both sides. When I was blending it out with my fingertips, I didn't really have an issue with streakiness or blending. Blending it out with fingertips, I don't generally like to do with a liquid foundation just because it can look a little weird, but this didn't really have any issues. And again, using a brush on this side looks fine. I feel like both sides look comparable to each other. And I'm not really having any issues in the pores against my nose here. I'm not really having any issues on my forehead or anywhere. And I was sweating today while I was working out again. I say working out. It's not really a workout. It's physiotherapy. But, I mean, I was sweating, so... And my skin doesn't look like the foundation came off anywhere. Again, it's a very light coverage foundation, so it's kind of hard to tell. So I'm just going to do the same thing that I did the other day. I'm going to take a tissue and just kind of wipe and see if I get any transfer. And this time I'm really not seeing any, so I think that the powder does help. So that's a good thing. And if you wanted it to be more matte, I think you could do that with a mattifying powder. I have enough foundation left over for one more wear test, so I'm going to try it with a primer and a mattifying powder and see how it holds up. So stay tuned for one more wear test. And so I'm just going to put some foundation on my face. First I'm going to use a primer. I'm going to use the Milk Makeup Blur Stick. I don't usually like this under foundation, but because this is a really luminous foundation and my skin has been a little bit more oily in the summer, I think this will be okay. I'm going to use the same brush as last time, which is the Real Techniques Expert Face Brush. I'm going to use a mattifying powder this time. This is the E.l.f. HD powder. So this is what everything looks like when everything is all mattified with the HD powder. And also with the blur stick underneath, which is also mattifying. And again, I'll come back here later and I'll have my final thoughts this time. So this is the last day I've been wearing it, and I did everything I could to mattify it this time. So I put a matte primer on and I put a matte finishing powder on top. It still looks fairly natural, which is fine with me. If you wanted to put even more mattifying primers and a mattifying powder on top, because I don't know how mattifying the blur stick really is, the milk blur stick. It may be like so-so. There's a lot of primers out there, probably more mattifying than this. I think you could mattify it more. I don't think it's a medium coverage foundation. I think it's fairly sheer, and I've tried it both with a sponge. They say to use a barely dampened sponge, so I tried that. I tried it with a brush, which they recommend, or fingers, which they recommend. I just don't see the potential to build it up that much. And again, I'm personally okay with that because I like a natural finish, but some people looking for a dewy finish foundation that is higher coverage, they might be a little disappointed. The coverage on this reminds me a lot of the Eden Minerals Norskin foundation. Actually, the color does as well. I think I like this better though. The smell, I recall the first day I put it on, I said it smells like foundation. Throughout the entire day I'm wearing it, I can smell something on my skin. It never goes away. It almost smells like some sort of oil, but there's no oil in the foundation. And I also noticed that my face actually sweats more when I'm wearing the foundation, almost like it's like my face can't breathe maybe. And there's a lot of dimethicone in this, so I'm wondering if maybe it's that. Maybe it's not very good for my skin. And no, it hasn't caused any irritation or breakouts, but I'm a little worried that it could if I wore it too much. Because it's just a little odd to me that every time I wear it, I can definitely tell that my face is like more oily or more sweaty or something's going on with it. So there's definitely some ingredients in this that I just feel like it's not very good for me. And I don't feel like I'd want to wear it a lot. As much as I feel like it looks really nice on the skin, it's basically undetectable. I just feel like it's probably not good. Now they also say that it's in 35 shades for every skin tone. I do know that this is trying to cater mostly to medium skin tones, and I feel like they are trying to fill a gap in the market. I also don't think that they should say it's for every skin tone, because it's clearly not. They have some huge gaps, and if they had even fewer shades before now, then obviously they wouldn't have gone as light or as dark. If you look at the darkest shades, there's like 2 really, really deep shades, and then prior to that, there's a huge gap. So I don't think they should at least market it that way. So I'd say if you're looking for a sheer to light coverage foundation, you don't want to build it up a lot, you want a imperceptible finish for your foundation, you would probably really like this. It would probably work really well on normal to dry skin. I don't think it would work so well on oily, even combo skin. It might just fall off your face, especially in the summertime. It's probably better in winter. And if your skin really reacts to different dimethicones, you might not like this either. So there's a few different things to kind of consider here, weigh your pros and cons about with, because I'm a little unsure about this one. As much as I like the way it looks, I'm just a little unsure about it. Yeah, so those are my thoughts. I'm a little unsure about it. At the end of the day, there are some other things I do like a little bit more, but It's a free sample. I tried it, and there you go. So let me know your thoughts if you've tried the foundation. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Let me know down below. And as always, I'll see you very soon. I have all of my links down below if you want to check out my other content. Subscribe if you want to, and if you don't want to, that's okay too. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye everyone.